Hi there, and welcome to this week's little live session about entering the Insomnia Matrix. And this week, you will find out more about your insomnia truth, meaning where your sleep problems actually are. So you definitely want to stick into this one. And this is also the foundation of our best-selling course, the Insomnia Matrix. So it's absolutely valuable. And my name's Michael. I'm a sleep coach. I'm the founder of Sleeptrust, super passionate about sleep. And today we're kind of going to walk through a thing called the Insomnia Matrix that is inspired through two sources. Uh, the first source is actually the film The Matrix. It hit the box office in 1999. I looked it up after the last podcast, but I wasn't quite sure when it came out. And the second one is that we're actually talking about a real matrix, a tool, a thing that I will share with you. You can download it at sleeptrust.eu later on and walk through a little assessment. Before I do so, I would really love you to drop me your name in the comments and where you're from. It's just making this thing a little bit personal, so it doesn't matter if you're sticking to us here live or to me live, or if you're looking this as a recording. It's always lovely to see where you're from and what's your name. That keeps it a little bit personal. So just take your time, drop your name, and maybe give me a like if you like the content afterwards. So wait a little bit to see if it's interesting for you or not. Um, yeah, the film The Matrix is kind of the second source of inspiration, but I'll start with this in the beginning because it's just so cool. The Matrix is a film that is about a guy called Neo. He's the main actor of the film, and Neo is living in this world where there are kind of little glitches. So he at some point asks himself if the this world is really real or if it's kind of if there's something to it that he doesn't see. So he starts searching for the truth. What Neo and all other humans do not know at that point in the film is that they are basically living in a virtual reality, in a dream, and their only purpose to be there is to function as a battery for machines, which took over the world a couple of years before. So um, at some point in the film, he meets a guy called Morpheus, and Morpheus offers him to tell him the truth. So he offers him to take two pills, and by the way, Morpheus is the name of sleep or dreams in the Greek mythology. So not sure if everybody of you knew that. So it's a double good fit for our little sleep session here. So Morpheus offers him two pills, a red one and a blue one. He says, you can take either one of those. You take the blue one and everything's over. You're going to go to bed, fall asleep, which you wouldn't do if you miss off this one, or maybe wouldn't do. And tomorrow you're going to wake up, you forgot that we met, and everything's going to just continue as it was. So, but if you take the red one, he says, I'm going to take you down the rabbit hole, meaning I'm going to show you the truth and you will find out all about that. And this is kind of what I think we're doing with the Insomnia Matrix. At some point, it's just so easy to say, okay, things are as they are. I can't do anything about it, and just push it off. Maybe start taking sleeping tablets, which in the long haul is a bad thing to do. And even in the short haul, I would not always recommend them. Except, if your doctor tells you, okay, there's a good reason for this, you have to take them, this is the plan, this is how it's going to work, okay? And in very few cases where you may have really a functional disorder of your body, but this is, from a percentage perspective, we're talking about a really low percentage. Most of you listening will be able to do something. This is the good news. So basically, what we're doing with the Insomnia Matrix, and this is the second part where this thing gets its name from, is we're layering two aspects over each other and building up a matrix. So we at Sleeptrust, and in general, you will find this to be general wisdom, work with something, and that's how we call it, that is called the sleep triathlon. Meaning we've got three parts that when we work on sleep, that we have to have a look at. And this is basically our bodies. Okay, we can do something with our bodies, obviously. It's our nutrition. What do we feed ourselves with? Because what we feed is what we basically are. The nutrition is super important for our body to build certain hormones and everything we need for a good night's sleep and to feel healthy, basically. And it's our mindset. And our mindset is super powerful too. As we all know, sometimes we lay there and think about stuff and don't feel good, or we think about stuff and feel super. So our mindset has a tremendous impact on how we feel. And then there's a second layer that we want to layer over these three parts that we can actually really work on. And this is more out of the sleep coaching perspective. And this is where we kind of, as sleep coaches, always look at three parts. Some more, some less, but I'm going to stick with the three, and they're kind of best practices. So we're going to have a look at our sleep appetite. Are we hungry for sleep when we go to bed? Are we tired? Do we feel sleepy? We're going to have a look at our bedrooms. Super important. How do we feel in our bedrooms? What do we do in our bedrooms? Are we watching TV, or even better, working, doing stuff like that will kind of harm our sleep or not? And the last part that we're going to look at is the inner clock hooked to the circadian rhythm. This is basically the day-night cycle that we're all hooked up to. At daytime, certain things happen in our bodies, and at nighttime too. So how this looks like is, I'm going to share my screen with you now. It looks like this. So you can download this at sleeptrust.eu. It's a simple version. We've got a more sophisticated one, obviously, for our program, but basically in the core, it's exactly the same. So you can take this. So you see the three layers. We've got the body, nutrition, mindset over here. And we have got the sleep, we've got the sleep appetite coaching path here. And what we do now is that we layer them over each other, and we get these little kind of checkpoints. So we've got a checkpoint with the body and the sleep appetite, the nutrition and the sleep appetite, the mindset, sleep appetite. So you get the concept, nutrition and the body. And each checkpoint we want to have a look at and ask ourselves if there are things that we find that harm our sleep, or if we have ideas, taking the positive perspective too, ideas on things that we can do in this angle that could improve our sleep. We're not looking for the magic pill, kind of, that we can now eat and then everything is going to be super clear and we're going to do this thing and going to sleep tomorrow. What we're going to do here is an assessment, an honest assessment. This is taking the red pill. So we're honestly going to take our time, and you probably won't need more than, let's say, half an hour, maybe an hour, take an hour. And if you're done after 15 minutes, that's fine too. But just take an hour of your time to sit down and walk through this matrix. So what you find here is that we did this little checkpoints for you. So we've got the body, sleep appetite, the body, the bedroom. It's a little bit of different order here, but basically these are the checkpoints. And you walk through and take your notes. So let's have an easy example. Let's say I'm going to start off with the easy one would be the nutrition and the sleep appetite. Okay, that's an easy one because if we think about nutrition and sleep appetite, a thing that comes to mind for me directly is caffeine. Do I drink coffee before I go to bed? So meaning the last 4 hours, let's say. It could also be, for me personally, it's, do I have a heavy meal right before I go to bed? That's a thing that I could put in there. Okay, I often eat too heavy before I go to bed and don't feel good. A thing could also be, I go to bed hungry. If you're on a diet and you think you're going into bed hungry, that's not good. You shouldn't do that. So rather eat a little bit, eat a banana or something like that you don't feel hungry, but don't feel, don't eat the big bacon, fatty stuff. Eat something healthy, eat just a little bit that you feel that your hunger is kind of gone away, and then go to bed. The mindset, sleep appetite is super important too. How do we feel? Do we start to pressure ourselves when we go to bed? Do we feel tired until we hit the bed, or do we start to think about work? Do we even start to work in bed? Do we start to communicate with our messengers, WhatsApp, whatever? So I think you get the concept. You walk through every checkpoint and put down your little notes, what kind of fits for you personally. And you can take the positive and the negative aspect angle. And what you're going to do then, and that is super important, is that you're going to have an honest look at your list here, and you're going to pick one or two things. We're going to really prioritize here. So you're going to have a look at this list, these checkpoints, and say, okay, this checkpoint is the very most important thing. I think if I do this, if I work on this one, I'm going to have the biggest impact. So remember, we're not working on the magic pill here. We're taking the red one. It's about the truth and starting to work and take action. So we're going to prioritize one single task, and we're going to work on this task. If you find two, that's okay too, but don't pick five. It's just going to be too much. You're going to kind of miss out on five. At least your likelihood of not being able to follow through on five is not good. And that's going to kind of get to your self-trust, sleep trust, and that's not a thing that we're going to do. We're going to build up our trust. So we're going to pick one thing that we're going to follow through. And mostly it's about changing habits, changing things that you're doing now and doing something else tomorrow. So this is basically the last thing I'm going to give you as a little tip. If you take something here and want to change that, you need to put something new in there. Otherwise, you're going to create a vacuum. And there's no such thing as a vacuum. If you create an empty space and just say, I'm gonna stick to not doing this, but you don't put anything else above it, your likelihood of falling back into that bad habit then is just so much higher, because vacuum gets filled. And you better actively fill it with something that you know that you can follow through and that you will love to follow through. So pick something nice. Pick something, if you say you're not going to drink a coffee in the evening, but you used to drink something warm, pick tea. Not black tea with caffeine or tea in. Pick something, maybe something that you really like to drink and that you enjoy doing so, and get into this new habit of doing so. And that's going to make it so much easier, and you're going to be successful, build your trust, build your sleep trust, and you're going to fall into a deep sleep very soon again. So with that, thanks for sticking to me in this little live session. I wish you a lovely Sunday as always, and of course a superb sleep. And don't forget to check us out at sleeptrust.eu. You're going to find everything there. Bye bye.